real successful people are the ones who don't even bother about obstacles because they know exactly what they want. Maxime Lagacé. And my friends, if you are committed to this through thick and thin because you are absolutely determined to learn how to chart stocks and ETFs, you will win. You will figure it out. It is simply a matter of your determination and your perseverance. I tell everybody that. Some of the best traders I know have the least amount of formal education. I don't care if you're a plumber, a pipe welder. I don't care if you have a PhD. In fact, so many times it's harder for the people with lots of education they seem to struggle more trying to find some kind of special little key to unlock everything when the real key is practice and learning how to follow price movement by doing it. If you've learned to play an instrument, particularly one that's not easy to learn to play, or even if it's an easy to learn to play, you become a real master at that instrument because you practiced so much and gotten so good. That's what this is more like. So if you're a musician and you're willing to devote the kind of time to follow price movement, like learning to play your guitar or your bagpipes like I play, or your drums, whatever it might be, again, 10 to 15 minutes each and every day, constant practice, that is what we require. And we don't want you to overdo it. You have other things to do. You'll burn yourself out. You can't sit at these screens for hours on end. It is counterproductive. So let's jump into these charts and see what we see setting up here. I think it's very interesting what we saw happen several weeks ago, starting back on the week, the 28th of August, where after the market had gone up about 12% and then rolled over for 3 weeks, it popped up for 2 weeks and then fizzled and ran down for 3 weeks. And now we're going into the second week of it popping up again. And you can see right here where we are right about the same spot. In fact, S&P flat for the day. And what's so interesting about that is we started back on the Monday, Tuesday, the 9th and 10th of October. It popped up and we really haven't gone just a smidgen higher perhaps than the high during that 2-day period over the last now 5 days. So again, as we watch this week launch, we can see we're about at the high of where we were last week. So again, in fact, let's see exactly. Last week, the high was 437.34, 438.14. So yes, I mean, we are right in that same realm. That doesn't mean that it's not going to take off and continue to move up, but you can even see on the half-day chart where we're just pounding around the same area for many days. So we will keep an eye on things and see what there is to learn here if in fact this is going to start dying. We had decent over the prior 2-day candle, it was Friday and Monday, we had average volume. So far, we're just going to have to see if we get up to the average volume. You can tell by looking, let's zoom in on this, at the Heikin Ashi candlestick, we had, I zoomed into the wrong one. I want to zoom into the 2-day instead of the weekly. As we look at this, you can see where things have popped up and we've got movement down on the bottom of both of these prior 2-day candles, first day of this latest one. And again, stroked a little bit higher than over those past days. So again, we will pay very close attention and see what there is to garner from this if things are slowing down and getting ready to keel over like we saw before, or if they're going to continue to try to move up. So pay close attention. S&P flat for the day. We're still above the 2-day, on the weekly trend line rather, we're still above on the half day, and we're floating right there below, right there pretty much on it, a little bit below, I guess, but not, yeah, we don't see the candle sitting right there on top of it. It's cutting right through the middle of it. So again, we'll pay close attention to that. Now, we tied that, of course, with those prior two. We just don't have much of a way to be able to draw one on the weekly chart. So we'll give that a little bit, but pay attention. Let's look at what's up with the Qs. Now, we do have a weekly trend line actually on the weekly chart. And as we can see on the 2-day, the prior one was above that. This one's sitting right there on it, just above it. This is the first day of that also. All of our 2-day trend line is going to be the first day of it. We can see where the half day moved up and really moved down. It was down for the day 1.33%. Much more down movement in the morning. Shave some of that down movement off in the afternoon. So again, we'll pay close attention. See if the market's trying to consolidate, get some energy to go up again, or if it's dying on the vine. Now, we'll move to 20-year bonds. Down again for the day, folks. Just a gift that keeps on giving after that 2.10%. Just keeps on a moving. Now, the low that we saw during the week beginning October the 2nd, the low was 84.06. The low last week, 84.95. The low this week, 84.50. So we've not hit the low yet of that prior week. We'll continue to keep an eye. Again, down again today, 1.10. You might say, Tom, why are you trading with bonds going down? Why are you practice trading? Because we're not buying TLT. We're buying TBF, Tango Bravo Foxtrot. That's the ProShares 20-year short, 20-year bond short. And of course, it goes up as the underlying benchmark, TLT, goes down. I just don't switch over to the inverse funds just so we can learn to trade off the main fund. That's what I look at. That's what I prefer to stay on also, since it really is what's setting the pace for the underlying fund. So I like to pay attention to what's happening with the big dog so I can see what's going on with that volume. And of course, you can see volume shifting off quite a bit this week. Now, again, we're only 2 days into it. But again, is that 2/5 of the move up? Doesn't look quite to be that. We'll see as we jump into tomorrow. But again, as we look at where bonds are, we are below on the half day. We're not below on the 2-day. And look at the volume already on the 2-day. First day of the latest 2-day candle, that's above half and moving toward that average. So we'll keep an eye on things. Go to gold. Gold up some for the day, again, 0.19%. Of course, starting this week off nicely after a spinning top last week with all that volume. And of course, we saw where gold was seeking that bottom, had above average volume those 2 weeks as it was doing so, and then turning around. We see, again, price well above the half day on the half day chart, looking at the weekly trend line, and on the 2-day chart, looking at the weekly trend line. Lastly, we'll go to Bitcoin, up for the day 0.08%, barely. We see where things really popped up strong on Monday, and then Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday, not much happening. But we're seeing this every other week pop up as Bitcoin is trying to gain a little bit. Again, volume not helping us out a lot. It's below average on the weekly, which is, of course, what we like to trade off of. We see more volume spikes and such on the 2-day chart, but again, hard to make anything out of that. That is where we are on Bitcoin, of course, gold, 20-year U.S. government bonds, the NASDAQ 100, and the S&P 500. You appreciate what we do? Think about becoming a Patreon member. First thing you get is our 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. I think it's the best options training you are going to get. Simple, direct, what you need to know to understand options and to start practice trading them with us each and every day. And in addition to that, every week we give you lots of things. Of course, I think the most fun thing we give you are the weekly vertical crossovers. Try to give you 20 every week. They're on the S&P 500. It is when we see the weekly chart crossing from red to green or green to red on the Heiken Ashi candlesticks, which many, many times signals for you what? a change in investor sentiment, in market sentiment, giving you potentially excellent trading opportunities as we present those to you for your practice trading. I also go through them, look at the volume, and try to find you ones that, again, have a decent chance of giving you a good experience in your practice trade. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.